Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about restarting as a ghost kitchen. So one of the common questions that are asked to people who run a successful business of any kind is, if you were to start all over again, what would you do differently? How would you change the way you've done things? And recently we had an interview with Mico, the entrepreneur, where she was asked this exact question from Bud Soda, and she gave some pretty solid responses. So with that said, we are talking about everything that Mico said in a recent interview with us, some pro tips for those who are considering starting their own ghost kitchen or some sort of mobile or small business restaurant, and everything in between. But before I do that, let's go over a quick disclaimer. The content of this video does not contain, is never intended to be, legal, business, financial, tax, or health advice of any kind. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is advised that you conduct your own research and consult qualified professionals before applying anything you find online. I also want to be clear that everything that we're going to be going over is very market dependent, and what applies to me in my market may not apply to you. So with that said, let's get started.
If you could do it all over again, what would you do and what would you say to others to avoid what happened to you?
If I had to do it all over again in my situation, what I would do is I wouldn't get a trailer. Different reasons, not because of the situation that I was scammed in. I wouldn't get a trailer again because if you're not mobile with the trailer, you're going to be standstill. I wasn't going to go to every festival. That stuff costs, it's very expensive. It's very expensive to be in these festivals. People say, "Oh, you can make a lot of
You have to
money."
pay for.
By the time you pay, by the time you pay all these fees to get in, then you got to make sure you have
You have
enough food for if it's 1 to 5 days. Then you got to make sure you have enough people to staff, because yeah, you know how you see those TikTok or different YouTube videos and they're like, "Oh my gosh, they're selling the line. The line is all the way back there." Yeah, they probably only have 1 or 2 people working it. And it's hot out there when you're trying to spend your money to buy some food from a trailer or a truck. What I would say is, for me, if I had to do it all over again, I would get a cart or be in a food court. So now they have food halls. I would try to get into a food hall because you want something small, right? You want to try to get into a food hall or a food court or a cart. If you can go to a mall, an outdoor mall or indoor mall that support carts, get you a cart. Because at the end of the day, you can go ahead and cover that up. You got the security cameras around. Yeah, you may have to pay electricity, but sometimes you don't even have to pay that. I didn't have to pay electricity with mine. But if you can strike a deal where electricity and all that is kind of included, or you only pay like one low fee, that's great. Also, with the food truck, you have to keep in mind when you are not mobile, you still have to pay for where you're going to put it, because you have a truck or a trailer. You just can't go down the street and, "Oh, I'm going to be right here today." You can't do that. The city have permits. You got to get a permit to be able to, be right here. Or say, for instance, with the apartment complexes, you see a lot of food trucks, food trailers, but that's the mobile part of it, right? Because you have to physically go. But if you're at a standalone location, you're paying as much sometimes as a brick and mortar. I know in Texas, that's why a lot of people are like, "I'm going mobile, drive around," because they want you to pay like sometimes $2,000 a month to park your trailer or truck there and to sit. And I get that. Because some places, they'll be like, "Oh, you can come here, but then where are you going to put your truck? You're going to have to take it somewhere." So a lot of people, they'll go to like a facility, a storage facility that will house their truck or trailer, but then you're going in and out all day. So that's expensive too. You got to pay for that. You got to have a commissary. It's just, when I thought about it, I was like, this is a great idea. I'm going to get a standalone location. But then when I'm going to these people and they know you new and I'm a female, so they think they can talk over my head, they're going to charge me more. If you plan to get a standalone location for your food truck or food trailer, make sure electricity is included, security cameras is included. They have to have some type of security around, right? Because overnight, if your truck is going to stay there overnight, yes, you're going to have your insurance. Also, you want to make sure you have water. You want to make sure you're able to drain your water. It's so many gas stations are getting, I see it all the time. They're getting away with having food trucks and trailers at their location because if you don't know, I talk to different gas stations and that rent is very expensive. They don't make money on gas. They make money on what's inside of the gas station. So snacks, stuff like that.
According to most reports, gas stations actually make a really small profit margin per gallon of gas. Usually it's around 3 to 7 cents per gallon, resulting in a net profit margin of less than 2% due to factors like labor, utilities, credit card fees, etc. And yeah, the majority of the money they make is either through markup prices. That's why you'll see a gas station that's like $1 extra. Sometimes they'll really make money through the convenience store. That's why you'll see like Buc-ee's being like this huge gas station. And yeah, they don't make a whole lot on gas, but like it's a whole destination at this point. But honestly, it's a little surprising to me because I always thought gas stations would actually make a ton of money, but I guess not.
So what I've been seeing is 2, 3, 4 food trucks. They're charging these people $2,000 a month. Some of the issues with that, sometimes the gas station, like if my truck sold bottles of water, I can't sell bottles of water. You know why? The gas station sell bottles of water. And if people buying bottles of water from me, they're not going to get it from the gas station because I'm probably selling it a little cheaper.
Yeah.
So they tell you up front, what is your menu and what do you sell? If you say you sell canned soda, bottles of water, anything that the gas station have, they're going to tell you, no, you can't sell that.
That makes sense, though. From what I could tell from the few
But
food
that's not
trucks
fair.
that
You're paying them $2,000 though. You're paying them $2,000 a month. You don't have water. They don't have no setup for water. They don't have no setup for internet. They don't have no setup for you to drain your water. It's not fair. Electricity. You bring in your own generator.
I'm not saying
It's
it's
nice.
fair. I'm saying I understand why they're doing that because on one hand, they don't want people to just take away their business in the pursuit of getting rent from somebody parking their truck there. That's why if I were to do this, if I were to be in that position, I would even consider like, hey, if I do end up selling bottles of water, do you want to just do a rev share instead? So that way they don't have to go multiple places in order for them to just get what they want. We'll work out some kind of deal that way and negotiate that. I don't know if that's actually possible. I know that some people could be a little anal about that, but that's something I would consider from someone who has absolutely no experience on that.
I mean, I do have restaurant experience. So basically, if you're in a food truck and you're sitting in a lot and that's another kind of store, it's a convenience store, say it's a 7-Eleven or even a non-name brand place, that's where you got to be really, really careful because you can't be in direct competition. So you have to offer something for a drink or a snack. They don't. So like you can't just give your prepackaged cookie that they have sitting right by the register and you can't have a Monster Energy or a Mountain Dew, Big Slam, or a bottle of water because gas stations carry all that stuff. I get why they do it. It's kind of unfair, but you'd have to work your way around it. And honestly, that's where doing your market research is like so key. Just like we do market research in gig work. You got to do market research if you're going to open your own business. Because if you don't, you're going to get swallowed up. So if you're in a high regulation city where the city is saying what you can do, where you can go, and you have to pay these regulatory fees on top of your lot, that's where you can get in a lot of trouble very easy because your costs will run so high that you can't make money off it because you might have had a neat idea and be like, oh, I can charge $1.99 for these little things over here. No, by the time your cost is up, your costs are over 200% of what you're actually bringing in. You have to charge $6. Do you ever wonder why these places are so expensive in some of these areas? That's why. Because the regulatory fees, if they're just parked somewhere, is so high, that's not funny. Fortunately, I was in a place by Fort Drum. You make some kind of agreement with like a smoke shop or something, and you just set up on their yard, and you can have dashers, the delivery drivers stop by, and you can sell off your food truck for people stopping by, and you don't pay very much at all. And if you're hooked up to their water, you just give them a flat rate fee. You don't even due to profit revenue sharing. I honestly, in a big city, I wouldn't do a food truck because there's so many hurdles. I would do the cart or the food court instead because it's probably a better idea because there's so many hurdles on being mobile because everyone and their mother wants to do that. So these cities know that and they're like, and the brick and mortar places are like, well, we don't want the competition. You give a donation to their next campaign. So like, oh, Mr. Mayor, you want to be reelected, help support this bill that's going to stop these food trucks or make it a high hurdle for them to compete with us.
Ain't that the truth? And unfortunately, that's the art of war. Like, you get into a position where you unfortunately have to do that. And not right, to be clear. I'm not justifying any of that, but that's the reality of a capitalist country. Yeah.
It's corporatism. It's not even capitalism. It's corporatism at that point because it's protectionist policies to prevent the smaller companies from coming in. That's why, not to get too political, but like that's why bigger companies or established businesses like higher taxes and regulations because they're already established. It snuffs out the little guy trying to get started.
I hate to say it, but that's true too. But enough politics. If you guys have any questions about how ghost kitchens are ran or any questions about potentially starting your own ghost kitchen, make sure to leave a comment in the description. We're compiling as much information on this as possible so that way we can assist you in securing your financial future, in making the most amount of money in the least amount of time and in the safest possible way through many different business platforms or whatever business platform you are looking to succeed on. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time.